here in my SoundCloud account that I've just been playing with for a little over a month now, I can see that number one, I've uploaded a lot of files here, and you can see this one's been played 11, 7, 2. So you're not going to get a huge amount of traffic here from just being on the website. And so one thing that is a little different than SoundCloud, I can have things be private. Now, that doesn't stop people from sharing them. If I click on this particular one and I click on my share button, anybody in that private group can share it with the world. It's not completely private, but it does stop it from being on your front page of SoundCloud. Now, if we go into the stats here, here's for the last 7 days. So this is how it works. So if I put my mouse over this, I can see what file, like here, show notes and fighting. Now she's on ready. That's the one we just looked at. So I can see kind of, but I can't. I'd have to go into each one, but I can see how much I'm downloading per day. Now, if I want to, if I say I want to, let's say, go from April 1st to today as I record this, it's May 24th, and I say apply the dates. Okay, I can kind of see this. So I'm getting April and May here. So it's a little different. And down here it shows you the top episodes for the last 2 months here. And if I want to see more, so I can see the countries, I can see the cities, and I can also see who's been listening, who's been playing them the most, which is something that, for a certain extent, you can't get on other platforms. And I can see apps. Now, if I go here to expand to see more, I can see where, here's all my episodes, pretty much, at this point, and the cities. So you get some of that information. I can see here kind of how it was consumed. Now, notice none of these are, it's kind of apps here, which is kind of interesting because none of them is the podcast app, which is different. If I go to websites, this is where people are consuming it, which most of this is SoundCloud. One of them was Feedly. So SoundCloud stats, a little different. You can see if anybody's reposted it, things like that. So it gives you some interesting stats. Now, if I go to Libsyn, and I can see a breakdown of and I can change this to be, 50 countries. And this is all exportable. Now, I'm using the $20 a month plan at Libsyn, and I can see a world map of where things are. I can see my regions. Now, if I wanted to, I can actually come in here to, let's say I wanted to really zoom in on the United States. I could click on zoom, and I can see my U.S. markets here, downloads per day. And again, you can see I can export this into Excel if I want to do future number crunching, or so here again, break down to this. So let's say here again, I'm seeing the states here, and down at the bottom, my markets. So again, I can see cities. So I can see the nation, I can see the states, I can see the cities. If I want to zoom in, I can go into Ohio. And again, I can export this. I can see the downloads per month. And it's showing me again what I'm looking at here. So I had 9,475 downloads from Ohio. Here I've switched over to Blubrry, and again, I can get a list of all the countries, and I can see where my audience is coming from. They do have an option here to see map at the bottom. And so here I can see that, and if I wanted to, I could zoom in on different areas here. So here, this is the US. You can see there's also a link to it here. If I click to that, and I can see the states. If I go back to my world and go back to my map here in Russia, these are not clickable. A little different interfaces here, but you can see where you do get numbers of, so in Australia I have 132 people, in this case, listening to Feeding My Faith. Here in Libsyn, I can see how my content was consumed. Were they finding me via iTunes or Zune or Firefox or Chrome, meaning they just listened on a website? And you can get extreme. Here, even iTunes on the iPhone Google Listen, iTunes on an iPod. So you can get really detailed of where people are consuming that. And you get similar information here on Blubrry. In fact, they have it broken down here: mobile browsers, anonymous, TV, set-top boxes. So in this case, it shows you over here as well, mobile browsers. And if I come over here, mobile appliance. So again, pretty cool stuff. If I go to platforms over on this, it shows me Windows, iOS, Macintosh, and unknown. So it's showing me here that an iOS device here is 30%. And you can get similar information again over here in Libsyn. And I mentioned this in Libsyn. You can also do this here in Blubrry. You can export your details here, and if you want to throw that into Excel or something else like that. Now, I've mentioned that with Blubrry, it's great. You can upload everything right from within WordPress, but that means, which saves you time there, you don't have to log into the Blubrry website. However, if we go back to the beginning of our stats here, if I look at this and go, hey, what episode is this? If I click on Browse Episodes, it's easy to fix. I just click here, and I can edit that. It's actually refreshing the stats. So yeah, I could say, look, this particular episode was called "Why Is There So Much Crap in My Life?" And so now, if I continue, it's super easy to fix. You would just have to, here, episode 51 was called "What My Mother Meant to Me." So it's super easy to fix. But the argument that, hey, it's easier. Your stats need a little bit of updating if you want them to be easy to understand, like I said, or you would just rename your file something that was easy to understand. And since I mentioned it here, when you're using Blubrry as a host, this box is from the PowerPress plugin, and you can connect your account to your Blubrry account, and you simply click on this box, and when you upload the file, I would just say here, and I would point at a file on my hard drive, and I could upload it. It's really, really fast. And that basically would go right to Blubrry and automatically update my website. Like I said, I would have to go back later and change that, depending on, there's a couple ways around that. If you're publishing with Libsyn, when you're done with a episode, it basically gives you this link, and you would simply copy and paste that into this box. When you log into Podbean, you can see here, you would click from the drop-down list and choose your file. Then you pick a period, and it only shows you the stats for that particular file. If you want to see all the stats from all your files, that's when you have to upgrade to the plan that is $58 a month if you buy a year in advance. And this is why I eject Podbean. I'm like, if I want those kind of stats, now if I just want download stats, I can get them, but I have to do one episode at a time. It's not hard, it's just time consuming, and between you and me, a little annoying.